I really like this. Question. One of our teams recently went on a camp together after we received some complaints around inappropriate use of social media, particularly Facebook. Is it our responsibility? What can we do about it? Now, we could, and we probably will, do a whole webinar on this topic alone in the future. But Deb, what's your comments around that?
Yes, it is their responsibility if it is members or people commenting in a a sporting context or arising from a sporting event. And what clubs can do, Play by the Rules actually has a social media toolkit and has a fantastic little policy template that clubs can adapt. But it also gives some great strategies for what clubs can do to promote responsible use of social media, and also some points around getting across to people that offensive or discriminatory comments will be dealt with by the organisation, and it's probably really important for organisations to work out what action they will take. One of the other things is that postings are also subject to the same laws that apply to our behaviour everywhere, so it's not just how we act and how we behave on and off the field. It also applies to what we do and what we say online. And so making people aware of that, I think, is really important. Appointing a webmaster to monitor the postings, and you can do that by setting up a Google Alerts, but Paul probably knows more about that. And also being aware that certain postings, depending on what's been said, can actually be reported to the police, or people can be liable for defamation. So I think it's just important that clubs make sure that their members are aware that there is a responsibility upon themselves to make sure that they don't post offensive and discriminatory comments, and to be aware that if they do, action will be taken.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I know. We've had to deal with some of these or address them in the last couple of years, Paul, especially.
Yeah, I feel sorry for clubs to a certain degree in that it's a very fast-moving field with online technologies and getting faster by the day. But I still go back to what Deb reiterated there around the resources and codes of conduct that to keep up with this, it's just letting your members know that where you stand in relation to if you breach something in this area, and what is a breach and how you can breach, and what will be the process if you do breach it. I think that's the biggest area of confusion that I've received, either calls or emails from clubs and both from people that have been had a complaint against them by the club by doing something, that it's where do we stand, what did I do, does this come under personal or does it come under the sport? And I think having that policy in place and letting you know where you stand, solves a lot of these issues, as it does with normal grey areas of selection issues or behavioural issues. So I'd just reinforce to anyone listening of have a look at that section, the social media toolkit on the site. There's a range of information about it. There's the policies and templates there that'll really help you as an intro from there, and obviously Play by the Rules and your help, Peter's there following that.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, like I say, we could have a whole webinar, might well do that in the future around use of social media policy, how to handle that. But at the end of the day, it's social media is in the public domain, and it's out there when it's connected with a sport or under the auspices of a sport at all. Then that gives them some responsibility there. So it's an interesting area. It's certainly one that's evolved very rapidly and got some people into some strife the last couple of years or so. So that'll be an interesting one to do and to explore more deeply, perhaps in the future. Thanks for that, guys. Those are the questions that were sent in beforehand. We're going to come to some live questions in just a second. But what I'd like to do is just a quick highly scientific piece of research around what do you think is the major issues at the moment in sport. Like I say, this is not going to be necessarily the most scientific piece of research ever, but I'm going to run a poll here. Catherine, are you there? Can you run this poll for us?
Thanks, Pete. We should have it up on your screen now. So the poll question is, what is the major issue in sport for you at the moment? With the options being discrimination, child safety, illicit drugs, performance-enhancing drugs, or alcohol. So I'll leave that open just a little bit longer. Okay, we're at about 70%. Last vote's in.
Just click on the on the buttons, guys. Yep.
We'll share the results of that one now. So we can see there, Pete, around 33% child safety, around 25% discrimination, and then almost 20% alcohol, and then a couple for illicit drugs and performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I say, it's a very cross sector audience that we have here, but the child safety has come out on top in our little poll there, which is quite interesting to see, with discrimination second in there. So it's interesting when you think about the makeup of our audience today and the sort of results you get there. That's quite interesting.